Have a plan, and we'll have almost all of the Republican senators behind it. And if he wants to bring up a piece of his proposed plan, we'll bring up a piece of ours. We'd love to see, for example, a vote in the United States Senate on a moratorium on federal regulations, which are coming out by the thousands, costing businesses billions and billions of jobs. We'd love to see a vote on that, but it'd be interesting to see whether the majority leader allows it.
That is Senator John McCain a bit earlier today on Fox. He's talking about a new jobs plan put forward by him and two other Republicans, including my guest in a moment here, Rand Paul out of Kentucky. The job situation in the U.S. is still weak. Brand new numbers out an hour ago. 404,000 Americans filing for first-time jobless claims last week alone. And on that note, President Obama says he will keep up his own fight to get his own plan passed. Listen here.
It's your voice that will make a difference to those senators and congressmen. You're their boss, and only you can make them do their jobs. So if you want action on jobs, make yourself heard. Make a call, write a letter, send an email. Just don't give up. After all, we're Americans, and we don't quit. We stand up for what we believe in, and we get through the tough times together.
Well, my next guest, I mentioned his name. He says he's got a plan of his own. Republican Rand Paul out of Kentucky, a member of the Senate Tea Party caucus. How you doing, Senator? And good morning.
Glad to be with you.
Before I get to your plan, why do you think the Obama plan has failed so far in the Senate?
Well, because I think the president didn't come and talk to Republicans. We control the House of Representatives. We're a significant minority in the Senate. And if he wants to work with us, he needs to talk to us instead of going around the country berating us with pass it now. He really needs to come and have a conversation with us. If there is common ground, we can only find that by the president talking to us instead of berating us in his campaign-style speeches.
Well, what he also found is that members of his own party did not support it, and he had at least two that stopped it, essentially. Two of these senators, two of the many who had issues with the jobs plan. So you and Senator McCain, among others, have come out with your own idea. How would that be different from what we've heard from the White House?
Well, what we're hearing from the White House is more of another stimulus package, basically borrow more money and try to stimulate the economy with government money. What we're trying to do is to actually give back to the taxpayer more of their money. The only time we've really had sustained economic growth in recent history where we had 6 and 7% economic growth in a year was when Reagan lowered tax rates. So instead of raising tax rates, you need to lower tax rates, let people keep more of their money. People invest their own money much more wisely than they invest other people's money.
Do you have much Democratic support for that, Senator?
We'll see. I think that there are conservative members in the Senate, particularly some who are up for election in conservative states,
how many do you think?
Who will be interested in this. I don't think we have not sent it out for co-sponsorship yet. It'll be released today. We're releasing it this afternoon with Senator McCain and myself and Senator Portman and others. And we will work then to see if we can get some Democrat co-sponsors.
You and others, you've been pining for these free trade agreements. And now you got a few, right? I mean, they've passed now with regard to Panama, Colombia, and South Korea. How does that help the United States worker?
Well, actually, that's part of our Republican jobs plan was to pass the trade agreements, and these have been waiting for 3 years. And so passing these trade agreements, many have predicted will create tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of jobs as we open up trade markets around the world. I come from a farming state. 25% of our farming or agricultural products are exported, and these trade agreements will help us.
Yeah, the left is saying exactly the opposite. There are estimates that 214,000 Americans, union jobs, will be lost because of it. Are they right?
Well, you know, it's always where you can see some jobs lost in one sector, you see some jobs gained in another sector. You know, for people who say, well, free trade is bad, when you go to Walmart each year, those who shop save about $800 to $900 a year because of free trade. That's extra money they can spend to increase their standard of living. Ultimately, free trade is good for both the consumer and for the economy.
All right. One more thing about your pops. How's he doing? Is he going to hang in there to the end?
Well, you know, I think he's doing great. I think he has been someone who has really shaped the debate. And I think you've seen many of the candidates actually coming his way on things like foreign policy, things like should we declare war, should Congress vote on going to war before we go to war. And I think he's done a great service to the country in bringing the Republican Party in his direction.
Well, he says it's his time. We'll see whether or not that's the case when the primary season kicks off very soon. Thank you, sir, for coming back today, okay? Rand Paul, the Republican out of Texas.